here, we have our safe harbor. And what you see is a reminder that this webcast is intended for information purposes only. Any features or functionality described are for Oracle products, remains at our sole discretion. Okay, next slide, Bernard. If you are ready, I'll turn the webcast over to you and you can begin.
Welcome to the Oracle Support Advisor webcast. Today's webcast is about the backup and restore using Oracle Secure Backup, or also known as OSB. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Hello, I'm Bernard Lopez. I belong to the High Availability Group within Oracle Support. We have two program agenda for today's webcast. The first one is the Oracle Database Backup Restore using OSB via RMAN. And the second one is the File System Backup and Restore using OSB via obtool and webtool. The basic question that you may ask is, why do we need to have a backup? When you experience one of the events listed here, then you will realize the importance of a backup. Indeed, backups can help save time and money if these failures occur. The OSB is a centralized network-based backup management application that backups both the Oracle databases and file system data across most popular operating systems such as Linux, Unix, and Microsoft Windows. The OSB admin domain is composed of the admin server, the media server, one or more media servers, and one or more clients or hosts. The admin server hosts the OSB catalog metadata. The media server is where the library is attached, that has the tape drives. The client server is the client host to be backup. A server can act as the admin server and media server at the same time, but there is one and only one admin server in the OSB admin domain. The following are the tools that we can use to interface with OSB: the GUI-based web tool, the character-based OB tool, the RMAN, which is the command line used to back up the Oracle database, the OEM, or the Oracle Enterprise Manager, which is the GUI base. That is another tool that is used to back up the Oracle database. The following are the different OSB daemons or OSB-related background processes. The first is the observiced.log, or observiced, which is the daemon that provides a wide variety of services such as runs jobs, cleanups, log files, and transcripts, and provides access to OSB config data to other hosts in the OSB domain. The observiced daemon runs continually on the admin server, media server, and the client host. Next is the obscheduled daemon, is the OSB scheduler. The schedule daemon runs continually on the admin server. Next is the obixd daemon, manages the backup catalog for each client. The index daemon runs continually on the admin server as well. Next is the obndmp daemon, implements the NDMP, or the Network Data Management Protocol, tape service, and provides data communication between the media server and the client. This daemon runs on both the client and media server. Next is the obrobot daemon. It manipulates the tapes in the tape library. This daemon runs intermittently on the media server. Next is the obpool manager daemon, manages the contents of the disk pools. It runs continuously on the admin server. And lastly, the obproxyd daemon verifies user access for SBT backup and restore operations. The proxy daemon runs on the host that contains the SBT library access during the operations. The OSB software can be downloaded in the URL listed in this slide. This is the image of the screen if you go to this URL. As of now, the latest OSB version available is 18.102. However, you can still download the OSB versions 18.101 and 12201. In this slide, I'm showing you how to install the OSB software. In my case, this is the staging directory, which is the location where I unzip the OSB software that I downloaded. To run the OSB installation, execute the setup file, which you are currently on and make sure that you're currently on the OSB directory, which is by default is user local Oracle backup. To verify the OSB library, you can run the Linux or Unix command or OS command ps-ef grep, and then this option here, or you can just simply do a ps-ef grep ob, and this will list all the background processes that are running in your server. Meanwhile, the obtool -V will display the OSB version installed in your server. So in this example, we have the 18102 installed in the server. The SBT test is also used to check the OSB library as well as the other media manager library or the MML aside from OSB, such as Net Backup, Data Protector, to name a few. The SBT test can also help in troubleshooting the error ORA 27211, which is the failed to load media management library. In the sample output, the version of the OSB or the MML here is 18102, and you can see here that the SBT restore and SBT read here are successfully completed. When you install the OSB software, by default, there's only one OSB user created, which is the admin. The admin is a super user. Like in the operating system or OS, you're not supposed to share the root password to the other users in your organization. Instead, you're supposed to create a new and different user with limited privileges. In the first example, we created the OSB user called ADM USR with the class admin. The obtool ls class here displays all the available classes in OSB. In the second example, we created the RMAN SBT with the class of Oracle. By default, there is no pre-authorization, but in this example, the OSB user RMAN SBT can be automatically logged in OSB when running RMAN to all of the OSB hosts because of this asterisk here, as long as when they're logged in as the OS user Oracle. In this slide, the obtool command ls user displays the details about the OSB user RMAN SBT. This particular OSB user has pre-authorized access to all hosts when logged in as the OS user Oracle. There are two types of media family in OSB, namely the time managed media family and the content managed media family. The media family defines the attributes and characteristics of the tapes in the volume set. The time managed media family are used for file system backup, where you can define the write window and the retain and the retention. So in the example here, the write window is 7 days and the retain option of 14 days. So this means that the backup jobs can write to the tape for 7 days since the first write. After 7 days, the tape is closed and will be retained in the library for 14 days. So 7 days plus 14 days is 21 days. So after 21 days since the first write, the tape can be candidate for recycle or reuse. Meanwhile, for the content managed media family, these are used for RMAN backup. This allows the RMAN backups to be managed at the RMAN side and not at the OSB side. The content managed tape volumes can be recycled or reused when all of the RMAN backup pieces in that volume set are marked deleted. So even if a single RMAN backup piece is not marked deleted, then the tapes in that volume set will not be recycled or reused yet. In this slide, the obtool command lsmf displays the different media families. So the media families OSB catalog MF and the RMAN does default. are created by default when the OSB software is installed. The OSB catalog MF is used to back up the OSB catalog, while the RMAN-default is used for the RMAN backups. The OS backup and then the RMAN_backup are the media families that we created in the previous slide. The media family with the content managers reuse are for RMAN backups because they are content managed media family. As mentioned in the previous slide, the default media family for RMAN backup is RMAN-default. However, you can use a different content managed media family other than RMAN-default for your RMAN backups. So you can define the database backup storage selector to set the default media family. So in the example here, we created this storage selector where the media family used is the RMAN_backup. When running the RMAN backup for the database name ORCLCDB and in the server Aura LNX. So in this sample RMAN script, the RMAN tape channel is allocated passing the OS environment variables OB media family and the SBT library. The OB media family here overrides the media family that we define in the database backup storage selector that we demonstrated in the two previous slides. Meanwhile, the SBT library explicitly points to the MML of your OSB, which is the user local Oracle backup libobk.so. In this sample RMAN script, the OS environment variable SBT library is omitted and not passed when the RMAN tape channel is allocated. Because when the OSB software is installed, the lib64 libobk.so is soft linked to the MML of the OSB, which is the user local Oracle backup libobk.so. So the SBT library is not necessary because by default it uses the lib64 libobk.so. In this example, we can configure the RMAN channel in the RMAN command line to have the persistent configuration of the SBT channel. So the RMAN command backup device type SBT tape or SBT will use the RMAN's persistent configuration of the SBT channel that we already configured here. So you can actually run this once, and then later on you can always run backup device type SBT and whatever file that you want to be backup here. So in this example, you can see that even though you just issued backup device type SBT, the library that is being used here is Oracle Secure Backup as shown here. So the following shows the RMAN restore script that will restore the database from the RMAN backup stored in the OSB tape library, because we are using here pointing the SBT library to your MML of your OSB as shown here. If the RMAN persistent configuration of the SBT tape channel is already configured, as I demonstrated earlier slides, then you can just issue the RMAN restore command, even without allocating the RMAN tape channel as shown in this example here. So we just issue restore control file 2, and then you can see that it's using the Oracle Secure Backup, and then that control file is restored from this backup piece and is going to this output file name here. The following table shows the different OSB media management parameters that can be used. Namely, they are the OB media family, OB device, OB resource wait time, OB encryption, and the OB restore device. In the RMAN command line prompt, you can issue the RMAN commands list backup piece and list backup set. So if you know the backup piece name, you can just do list backup piece, and then you'll get the backup set key. Then in the next command, you just issue list backup set, and then whatever is the backup set key. So in this output here, you can see that this backup piece here is stored in this tape volume RMAN backup 002. Meanwhile, in the OSB side, you can run the obtool command ls piece, with the section parameter there. And then in this output, you can see that this particular backup piece is stored in this particular tape volume in file number 4. So you can, in the obtool lsps command, you can also add the options db name and the host options to display all of the RMAN backup pieces that are associated to the particular database and client host server. So the minus section displays the tape volume information where the RMAN backup piece is stored. So in this example here, this particular backup piece is stored in this tape volume in file number 371. So if you remove the minus section, it's much simpler. So you see this obtool lsps command. It contains the backup of this database and this server, and what are the contents of that backup piece, and then when that backup piece is created and the time that it is created. This is from the OSB side. And to display the OSB job ID that created that RMAN backup piece, you can run the obtool ls backup. And this is very useful to investigate how the RMAN backup piece is created at the OSB side by generating the transcript for the OSB job ID, which we'll be discussing later in this webcast. So in this example here, this particular backup piece was created by this job ID RMAN SBT/1221.1. In the server hosting the Oracle database that you backup, you can also monitor this particular file and while the RMAN backup is running or in progress. So you can see there that the OSB version is 18.102 at the client side, and this is when the backup is created. And then the backup piece, this is the backup piece that is being generated, and it is being stored in this particular tape, and this is the corresponding job ID. So you can monitor this obproxyd.log while the RMAN backup is running or is in progress. For the file system backup using OSB, you need to define the dataset file, which contains the server that you want to backup, and as well as the files or directories that you want to be included or excluded during the backup. So in this example here, this is the dataset, and then the server that you want to be backup is called Aura LNX. And then the directory that you want to be included in the backup is the /home Oracle/temp. For additional information about the dataset, you can go to this particular link, which is the dataset files for OSB version 18. To schedule the file system backup, you can issue the obtool command nksched and the chsched. In the example, the dataset to be backup is this dataset, and the media family is OS backup, and this is going to run daily at 2 a.m. So to display the details about the backup schedules, run the obtool command lsched as shown in this slide here. So you can see that this particular schedule is going to run daily using at 2 a.m. using this media family, and this is the data set that will be backup. To manually run the file system backup, you can issue the obtool command backup. So in this example here, we're trying to back up this data set using this media family, and then with the -- go to submit the backup job. And then in the second example, the difference here is the -- level 1. This is to perform incremental level 1 backup. In the previous examples, we've been running the file system backup using the obtool, which is the command line tool. You can also submit the backup jobs via the webtool, which is the GUI-based tool. So to open the webtool using your favorite internet browser, just type the host name or the IP address of the OSB admin server. And to run the file system backup via webtool, just click the backup link here and then backup now. And then in this sample screen, we can select the data set that you want to be backup and the media family that you want to be used. Then once you click OK, and the next screen, you will see this next screen here. So click the Go button to finally submit the backup job. In OSB, there are three methods on how you can restore the file system backup. Namely, they are the catalog-based restore, the row restore, and the obiter restore. For catalog-based restore, the information about the tape volume ID and the file number are automatically obtained from the OSB catalog metadata. This is the common method to restore from the file system backup. For row restore, you need to supply the tape volume ID and file number. Meanwhile, for the obiter restore, the restore is performed outside obtool by running the obiter executable file. And by the way, when you run this catalog-based restore and the row restore, the obiter command is actually run in the background. So in the catalog-based restore, we just need to provide the directory or files that you want to restore. However, if you want to restore it to another directory or file name, then just add this option, the ---- as path, and provide the alternative directory or file name. These are another examples on how to perform the catalog-based restore. So the ls command here will list the backup for all with the select option here. Will display all the backups for this particular file. So the obtool restore here will restore this particular file from the latest backup. The second restore here will restore from a selected date range. The third restore here will restore this particular file from the backup ID 11, which is this one. And then you can also restore this file to another host on another file name. To perform the row restore, you need to provide the tape volume ID and the file number of that backup image they wanted to restore. So to determine the file number, you can run the obtool ls-vol with the ---- content. So in this example here, you know that you wanted to restore the file from this particular tape volume, and then that backup image contains only this particular tape volume contains only one backup image, which is file number 1, and this is the date and time when the backup was created. So likewise, this particular tape volume contains two backup images. The first one is created in this date and time. The second one is created in this date and time. So for obiter restore, you can run the restore outside obtool by using the obiter executable file. So you pass in there -x, capital F, the file number, the tape drive, and the tape volume ID. So similarly with the catalog, the row restore. So how do we determine the file number that you want to restore from? So you can run the obiter -zzvf, and then the tape drive, and then the volume ID. So in the next slide, you can see the file number of that backup image that you wanted to restore, so you can validate as well the date and time of that backup when it was created. Once you know the corresponding file number, you run the obiter -tbf. So to display the contents of the backup image, which shows the files included in that file system backup. To monitor the OSB jobs, you can run the obtool ls job and the cat-xcr. So in this example here, we display the detail of the job ID admin/9.9.1. And this is the snippet transcript of the file system backup admin/91. So you can see here that the backup status is 0, and it uses the tape drive vdrive2, and the volume ID used is this one, and this is the corresponding barcode. And in that tape volume, this backup is in file number 2, and it's using the Aura LNX as the server. For additional details about the status code, you can go to this file, which is available in this particular directory here. So this is the continuation of this is the snippet transactions for the RMAN backup. So you can see that the status is 0, and the other drives, the tape volumes and the barcodes used, and the file number, and the date and time when the backup is created, as well as the rate of the backup and the corresponding backup piece name that has status 0, which means that the backup is successfully completed. You can restart OSB by running obctl start at the OS as root, and you can also stop OSB by running obctl space stop. To monitor the OSB, you can tail this particular file, user temp observiced.log. So in this example, as observiced.log, we can tell that this observiced.log is coming from the admin server because of this message here. It also shows the OS process ID where the OB HTTPD is running, which is your web tool, and the port that the OB pool manager is listening, as well as the OB schedule D is listening as well. In addition, you can also see the port number used by OB service D, which is port 400, which is the default, and the NDMP is listening on port 10,000, which is also the default. You can also display the different OSB config files by typing the checking on the /etc ob config. So it will show you the default OSB home directory and the admin directory and where the OB files are located as well. So in this particular webcast, we learn how to back up and restore the Oracle database and file system using the Oracle Secure Backup. These are the common articles and links that I used. So when opening the service request, we usually ask the customer to check this one and upload the OB Explorer output because it gives us all the detailed configuration of your OSB. Give this back to you, Dirk.
All right. Thank you very much. That was very informative and really appreciate what you've done here. We're going to open it up to Q&A in just a moment. So please go ahead and use the chat panel to ask any questions. And while we pause to collect your questions, I'd like to share some information on locating Advisor Webcast and how you can access the recording from today's session. Advisor Webcast document 740966.1 is the starting place to find out about Oracle Advisor Webcast program for all Oracle products. And the first tab of this document provides a link to the registration page where you can register for upcoming sessions. For today's webcast session and a list of all prior webcast recordings, you can go to the Prior Webcast Recordings tab and then click on the recording link. A PDF file with the webcast session slides can also be downloaded from here. And if you have any follow-up questions on a webcast session, go ahead and use that community link. The Q&A from today's webcast will be posted to this thread, as well as responses to questions that we may not get to during the webcast. And recording for this webcast will be available within 48 hours, which you can also access directly from the KM document listed on your screen. And I'll also post this information in chat for your reference. And I also want to mention that you can visit the My Oracle Support Advisor Webcast landing page, where you can find a listing of all upcoming Advisor webcasts across all different product lines, and you can register for any of these webcasts that may interest you. It also provides a listing of webcast replay links from the past month on the In Case You Missed It tab. And I'll also post that in the chat for your reference. Okay, so next slide, we're going to open up to Q&A for any questions. And again, to ask questions, please use the chat panel. And a reminder that these and any questions we are unable to answer during the webcast will again be posted to the community thread. So let's take a look at some of the questions. One question we had previous was, can OSB backup an OLVM instance, which I'm guessing is an Oracle Linux virtual machine?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. If I can add one thing, Dirk,
absolutely, yeah.
just to, I don't know, try to provide a little more context around that. I think the question may be interpreted as can you back up all VMs as images? And that's not possible. It is possible to back up LVM, as Bernard said, and you can do that by installing the OSB agent inside the guest operating system. So you should back it up like it's a regular any other host, right, where you can install the OSB agent and then back it up as a file system backup. So that's fine, it works. What it can do is backup as a VM image from the hypervisor. I think that may be the question.
All right. Thanks, Marco. That was great. Will OSB work with Oracle Standard Edition?
I need to verify this, but I think yes, but I need to double check on this.
I can take it, Bernard. Yes, it works. Yes, it works with Standard Edition. There are some limitation with Oracle Standard Edition regarding to backup, not depending on OSB, but depending on some, again, limitations that are in the Standard Edition database. It means that you can only use one channel at a time, and you can only use basic compression. With OSB, there is a special license that allows you to back up the Oracle database using advanced compression, high, medium, low, that normally require the presence of the advanced compression option license on the database, on each database. With Oracle Secure Backup, you don't need that. So with Enterprise Edition, you can use high, low, or medium compression if you want. Standard Edition, basic only.
Thank you. Okay, another question we had is, why use OSB versus the RMAN standalone? So what's the benefit?
I'm not sure about this question. So basically, you use RMAN to OSB to back up your database to tape. So I'm not sure about this question. Why use OSB versus RMAN standalone? So so to answer the question, you use RMAN OSB to back up the Oracle database to back up to tape.
Right, or disk, right?
Or to disk.
If you want to go to a disk pool or something like that and manage a catalog, etc., you can use OSB also to go to this. But yes, the main answer is yeah, what you said. Most customers use OSB with the Oracle database for managing tapes and tape libraries and media, and that's the main reason for using OSB. There is also an additional product which is licensed the same as OSB, and it's called OSB Cloud Module for AWS S3 that allows you to send backups from RMAN directly to buckets in AWS S3.
As well as to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure as well, Marco, right?
Right, exactly. OSB can also be used to send backups to OCI buckets if you want. You can back up file systems to OCI buckets if you want. There is also a module for RMAN to send directly to OCI buckets, which is not part of OSB. You can choose whatever the best tool is for you. But yeah, the other thing why you may want to use RMAN versus OSB versus RMAN standalone is that, as Bernard showed, OSB can also back up file system data, regular file system, and not Oracle database only. So if you want to back up the database and, for example, the files you have in Oracle Home, or maybe application servers, whatever, Again, whether going to disk or to tape or cloud locations, you would use OSB for that.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Does OSB support encryption on backups?
The answer is yes.
Okay. And what's the best use case for this tool compared to using any existing backup restore tools?
Do I take it?
I mean, that's
Well,
that's
the
a
thing I
difficult
just
one to answer.
described
Yeah.
as one example, right? You want to back up the Oracle database and other regular file system based data. You can use that if you want to manage tapes, if you want to use local disk pools and then have automated policies. There are some more advanced features that obviously could not be discussed at this in this webinar.
Right.
But one thing you can do with OSB is scheduling automated policies for moving backups from one location to another. So again, you can configure it to go to a local disk pool, for example, on the ZFS appliance, and retain backups for, let's say, 7 days on the ZFS appliance, and then have policies that are automatically copy those data to a cloud bucket, for example, to move it offsite or to tape if you want. You can also do that, and keep it there for on the retention 90 days, 1 year, 5 years, whatever you like, right? You can do some additional things. Then comparing OSB versus other product backup and restore tools, etc. Yeah, no, that's a little bit out of the scope of this presentation. There you can say there are different products that do backup and restore. You choose whatever best work for you and what is more, I don't know, cost efficient, let's say, for you. Yeah.
Right. And I think there was another question related, I think, in that for the disk images, OSB, it can do backups on all file types. Is that correct? Like EXT, ZFS? I mean, is there any limitation to this at the OS or file systems level? Do we know?
I'm not sure if we're talking about the actual file system we are backing up or the file, the destination we are using as a target. But yes, I mean, OSB supports the most common operating systems around Linux, obviously, Windows AIX, Solaris, HPUX. So any of those are supported, and the different file system types on those OS are also supported as source and as a target. There are support matrices that can be looked at to see the complete list and the details, but yeah, the most common are supported.
And I believe you showed this in one of your screenshots. Someone had a question is, does OSB also have that graphical interface or tool to use? And I believe the answer to that is yes, but I'm not sure if you had
Yes.
other screenshots for that.
The character base is the obtool and the GUI base is the webtool.
Right. So GUI tool versus web tool.
Yeah.
So
And
if you
to
want the
access
graphical,
to access the web tool, you basically just open your internet browser and just type there the host name or the IP address of the admin server. And it will prompt you for the user ID, which is the same user ID and password when you connect via obtool.
right. How to upgrade OSB? Like while upgrading, do they need to update like the OSB client, media admin? And do we have a next release date?
To upgrade OSB, first, we recommend that you upgrade first the admin server and then followed by the media server. Because remember, there are 3 types of servers, right? The admin server and the media server and the client. Your client can be a lower version, but we highly recommend that for compatibility, to avoid compatibility issue, we need to make sure that the admin and the media server are the same version. And then later on, you can upgrade your your client, but make sure your client is at least 12.201 or higher, because you cannot run a backup when your admin is 12.21 or higher, and then your client is 10.4 or lower than that. For the next release, I'm not sure when is. Right now, the current release is 18.102. I'm not sure when is the next release will be due. Marco, do you have an idea?
I don't have a specific time. It would probably some let's say a new version coming towards the end of the year, but it's still not confirmed. We are mostly working on OCI related features that we want to include in the next release.
Okay. Is OSB capable of deduplication on the standard edition of the database, as well as file system backups?
No, OSB doesn't do software deduplication.
Okay.
So what it can do is doing full incrementals compression if you want, but not really deduplication. That can be done on the target side, yeah, target device.
Okay. And is there any downtime required to upgrade the OSB admin media client? I guess kind of going back to the previous question, what in regard to the upgrade.
Yeah, obviously, if you are upgrading the admin server and the media server, then you have to shut down the OB service D. You have to do OBCTL stop. So that's a minimal downtime, because just to upgrade, it takes like when you run the setup file, it takes 2 to 3 minutes. So it's minimal downtime.
Okay. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. I don't think that we haven't answered, in at least not in some of the other questions. There was one, I believe someone asked, in how is it secure the backup? Does it use any encryption during the backup and restore? And I believe you had answered that question, or did I miss that?
With regards to encryption, right, at the database tape level. Yeah, if you do the encryption at the database level, then the encryption will not be, it will not do any encryption at the OSB side anymore.
Gotcha.
So you can choose how you want to compress. And again, if I can, I want to mention a couple more things. One is that also because I mentioned this before for the compression stuff, that with OSB, you have included the ability of using advanced compression, which is normally something that needs to be licensed on each database. You need to have the advanced compression option if you want to use advanced compression when backing up to disk, for example, directly with RMAN. With OSB, you can use advanced compression without having that license. And same thing goes for encryption. You can use RMAN encryption when running a database backup, and you don't need the advanced security option, which would normally be required to use RMAN encryption to encrypt RMAN backups when sending them to local disk, for example. With OSB, it's included. There was also a question about if using compression on OSB or directly on tape, and which is better to use. So first of all, if you do an RMAN and compressed backup, or you turn on compression at the RMAN level, the tape compression, the hardware tape compression that LTO drives provide is not as efficient, because data is already compressed, so there's nothing more to do. If you have tape drives directly attached to the database server, which is also acting as a media server, or you have a very high network throughput available between the database server and the media server where the tape is attached, you would probably want to just rely on LTO tape compression, because obviously using software compression on the RMAN side places also some additional load on the CPU on the database servers. So it's better to just send not compressed data directly to the tape drive, and the tape drive will take care of that. If you have a slower network between the database server and the media server where the tape is attached, then it may make sense to turn on RMAN compression, because you're sending less data over the network, and then so your backup may be faster. It depends a little bit on what the configuration is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good answer. That's great. Thanks, Marco. All right. With that being said, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and especially for Bernard for presenting, and of course for Marco for answering the questions in chat during the webcast. And we hope you found it valuable today. And I remind you that the chats and the questions and postings will be in the community thread, which I have posted into the chat again, as well as the recording and the PDFs with active links that you can then click. Those will be posted within about 48 hours to the doc ID you see in the chat panel there as well. So I just want to thank you all again for taking time out of your busy days to join us. And that concludes our webcast for today. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.